Hey, Liam Ward here at LearnTheHarmonica.com. Today I'm giving you my top 5 tips for lip pursers who want to learn to tongue block. Tongue blocking is an amazing technique that can really open up lots of different avenues for your playing, and if you're keen to learn it, then go ahead and check the link in the description to my full tongue blocking course. So in this video I'm going to give you my top tips if you're thinking of adding tongue blocking to your playing. If you enjoy the video, then please remember to click like, as that really helps YouTube understand that you're enjoying the video and it helps YouTube to show it to more people. So make sure you stick around right to the end when I'll reveal my most important advice for you as a lip purser who's interested in tongue blocking. But let's start with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to relearn simple melodies. So the great thing about doing this is that you don't need to concentrate on the tabs or concentrate on where you are on the harmonica or the sound of the tune. You can immediately recognize that song and compare your tongue blocking version with your lip pursing version. So if I take When the Saints Go Marching In, I'm on an A harp, by the way, that's lip pursed, but I could also play that tongue blocked. Okay, I'm just aiming for single notes, but actually, embarrassing, but as a good example, I fluffed one of those notes a little bit. There was a little bit of a squeak because my move between two notes wasn't great. So that was a good way of me testing myself, because I know how that song should sound and I'm able to then practice it in a tongue block setting. I'm not trying to do any fancy techniques, I'm just aiming for a clean, clear single note melody at this point. And I almost got it right, not 100% right, but there we go. I'd go a lot slower than that if I was practicing it at first, so I'd just be and if I make a mistake, I'll stop and try and correct it before I move on. Could be any songs that you're comfortable with, but make sure it is something that you can play perfectly as a lip purse. Tip number 2 is to get a Falisco tongue block trainer. So this is a simple piece of kit. It's basically just a little piece of plastic that is shaped like a harmonica, and it means that you can easily practice your tongue blocking shape without using a harmonica. So part of the problem with learning to play harmonica is that a lot of it isn't visual. It's all kind of happening internally in your mouth, or the harmonica is blocking what you can see. But with a tongue block trainer, I can stand in front of a mirror and check my shape. I can have a look and see in the mirror, am I getting the shape that I'm aiming for or am I not? Because if I do this with a harmonica, I can't see it, you can't see it. I can hear it, but I can't see it, so it's not a great way to tell if I'm getting the right shape. By the way, Joe Falisco hasn't paid me to say this, I just think it's really cool. He probably doesn't even know I've got one, I bought one off his website. But it's a really, really great piece of kit, and I know that it's helped a lot of people as I've been teaching them to transition from playing completely lip pursed to being a tongue blocker. Because it's scary, this idea of using your tongue if you're used to just kind of making a narrow mouth shape. It's kind of like, what the hell? How am I supposed to get that big wide shape? So the tongue block trainer is a really good addition to the tools that you'll have at your disposal. So tip number 3 is to be mindful. So one of the things with harmonica is that you can't see what's going on. And even if you're using the tongue block trainer to help you to visualize what's happening, at some point you're going to have to pick up the harmonica and practice your tongue blocking on that harmonica. And at that point, you need to really learn to use these as much as possible. Use your ears as much as possible, because you won't be able to rely on the visual aid anymore. So you need to be as focused as possible, switch off all devices, preferably have a space you can go to away from the kids or from your partner or from the noisy neighbours, and just focus in on what you're doing. Split your practice into short chunks where you can really go hard and then relax and have a cup of tea and then come back to it. But make sure that you're really paying attention to what's happening, because no one can tell you whether it's right or wrong. You need to be able to feel it. You need to know the shape that you're making. You need to be able to feel where the tongue is, and you need to be able to hear whether the results you're getting are right. This is something that takes training, especially in a world where we are so scatty and we expect immediate results, and we're distracted by a million devices and a million different programs and streaming services, etc., etc. So do try and focus as much as possible, and you will come on a lot quicker. Tip number 4 is to record your practices. So it can be difficult when transitioning from being a lip purser to a tongue blocker to really analyse and criticise your playing unless you choose to record yourself. So if I play something now, then I've got some kind of idea of what I just played, but I'm not sure the exact notes I played because I improvised it. And I played pretty much the same thing one after another, so I played it twice. But I don't know if I did it differently the first time or the second time, if I did it better the first time or the second time. And if I chose to try different variations and I played it 20 times in a row, there's no way I'm going to remember any of that, not properly, unless I can listen back. And I certainly won't be able to analyse it unless I listen back. So if you just get a simple recording device, most phones now have voice memo functions on them, or your computer will do it. It doesn't have to be a fancy piece of kit at all. Then when you listen back, you'll be surprised. They'll be good and they'll be bad, believe me. Sometimes you'll think that it was great until you hear it, but other times you're pleasantly surprised. You think, you know what, that wasn't great. Then you hear it back and go, no, that was better than I thought. So it works both ways, but the real reason you're doing this is so you can hear your mistakes and criticise yourself and think of new ways to improve based on those mistakes that you've made. It's scary, believe me, but once you get in the habit of recording yourself, it will really help you understand who you are as a player, where you are in your progress, and it will help you progress a lot quicker. So just before I reveal my top tip, please, if you've enjoyed this video, click like. That helps YouTube to know that it should share it with more people. And if you are really keen on learning to tongue block, then make sure to check out my tongue blocking course teaching all the important techniques of tongue blocking. There's a link in the description beneath this video. So my top tongue blocking tip for lip pursers is to think as a beginner again. This is all about your mindset, and I think it's more important than all of the other stuff that we have looked at today, and it feeds into each of those as well. So, as a lip purser, you might be an advanced player, but if you've never tongue blocked, you are a complete beginner as a tongue blocker. And this takes a little bit of training to get used to. It means that you need to be willing to go slowly. You have to learn to crawl as a tongue blocker before you can walk or run as a tongue blocker, even if you're like amazing as a lip purser. And this is something that I've found is often the biggest stumbling block when teaching students to switch or add tongue blocking to their playing. It's all in the mind. And the ones who learn quickest, paradoxically, are the ones who go slowest, who are willing to be a beginner again. So if there's one thing you take away from this video, if nothing else, then it's that you should think as a beginner again when learning to tongue block. I hope that these tips have helped you. I'd love to hear your comments and your questions. You can put them all in the comments section, and I'll try to reply to as many of those as possible. Please click like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you want free harmonica lessons every single week, and make sure to check out the tongue blocking course in the description beneath this video. I'll see you soon for another video. Until then, enjoy your practice. Cheers.